And we're back. Now, we want to welcome to the show Leroy Patterson, a.k.a. the Human Tackboard, a.k.a. the King of Sneak King. Welcome to the show. We got our copies here. Dan's got copies of all three back there.
They're beautiful.
I had to have all three. I had to put all three.
Yeah, I mean, the other two can, die in a fire, but
Sneak King is the one. Yeah. So welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, what you're all about, what you do, because you've got some pretty extensive credits, all right?
I try to keep life interesting. So I have 2,907 copies of Sneak King. I'm a reality TV star, I guess. I've done 20-plus reality shows, including America's Got Talent, and The Gong Show, and Hole in the Wall, and I have an upcoming performance on the Go Big Show, Thursday, January 27th. And it's going to be awesome. You need to watch it. And I also worked in the video game industry for 10 years for 2K, EA, THQ, Square Enix, Activision, a bunch of places. Also, I'm a pro wrestler. For 20 years, I wrestled in XPW back in 2000. I also had an extensive backyard wrestling career. I was on MTV True Life. I'm a Backyard Wrestler was filmed at my house, and I was on the cover of Best of Backyard Wrestling Volume 2. I wrestled for Freak Show Wrestling in Vegas for the last couple of years, and I just recently made my AEW debut. And there's other stuff too, but that's that's the main stuff.
That's awesome. That's pretty amazing. So
I'm also a video editor. I work for Giphy, making animated GIFs all day. That's my job.
All right.
So
I use your guys' services on the regular. They are the best GIF service in town, and the fact that I can go onto my chat service and do /Giphy and a random keyword and something awesome comes up is just amazing. So
Slack. That Slack integration is so good.
That's fantastic. So I think maybe we kind of want to get started with talk a little about your kind of gaming history and whatnot, how you got involved with gaming, and I guess then that'll also kind of lead into the Sneak King stuff too.
Yeah, I was 5 or 6, I think, when I first saw the Atari 2600.
How was my console?
I say it was Jaws or some kind of like fish shark game, and I was blown away by the fact that you can control what was happening on the screen. That was a concept that was foreign to me as a little kid. I was like, "You're moving that thing?" It was such a huge, iconic moment of my life. And then it was 9 or 10 when I got my. Still there? Cool. I was 9 or 10 when I first got my NES. The classic entertainment system, and from there just hooked. As you can see, I've got a very extensive shelf of video games behind me.
Yeah.
Over here, I've got
how big is your collection?
It's 2,400. No, I just hit over 2,500, so it's 2,500.
Nice. That's a milestone. Yeah.
Physical copies, and then like on Steam, I got another $2,000, games, and I like video games. But and then 72 systems, I think.
Oh my god! Okay, that's a lot.
And most of them are all hooked up right now to a projector, and I sit in the massage chair and play video games. It's
that's how you do
nice
it.
Way to relax and chill, and But yeah, I loved games so much. I decided right after high school, I was like, I need to get into the video game industry. This is my calling. I love, I was professional wrestling at the time too, and so I got a job at THQ. They were looking for testers, and it was the worst job I've ever had in my life, and I did it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Wait, so how? Okay, so when you're a kid, right?
Yeah.
And somebody said, "Hey, you could test video game all day." You would think that's the best game, the best job ever, right? So how is it the worst job ever?
So, and I had done play testing before, which is great. They bring you in, there's snacks, and you play a game for 8 hours, and you tell them what you think. That's awesome. I love that. I do it every now and then. It's fun. But actual testing is the worst because you're working on, and so you don't get to pick the game. So there's months where I'm working on Dora the Explorer on Nintendo DS.
Yep.
Or,
Arby's Horse Adventures. Yeah.
I did 4 months on SpongeBob SquarePants and the Flying Dutchman, and I lost my mind and I quit THQ and I left.
Yeah, that'll
And
do
I
it.
flew up to Australia and went to stunt school because I was like, I need to do something crazy. This is not what I want for my life. But yeah, there's the crunch time is real. You know, the last 4 or 5 months of a project, you're working from 7 a.m. to like 2 a.m. 6 days a week. You know, and you live there. I've slept under my desk multiple times. THQ was a 2-hour drive for me every morning. So I would just sleep under my desk during crunch time and just didn't go home. Smelled like crap, I'm sure, eventually. But yeah, it was just mind-numbing, terrible. And THQ was probably one of the worst because we had to write all our bugs out by hand. And anyone who's written a bug knows that it's a long document filled with like paragraphs of like how to get, you know, you break down the severity of the bug, you break down the type of bug, and then you have to be able to recreate it 100% of the time.
Right. Yeah. Is it reproducible? What are the details to do that? Yeah. And I'm also assuming that, like, you know, it can go back to the engineers and they're like, nah, we're not going to fix. And you went through all that trouble to put that together and go, no, this is a serious bug. And they go, nah.
Yeah, WNF will not fix. That is a legitimate note that we would get on bugs.
Wow.
And some of them are like, fine, there's a minor graphical corruption. It's not a big deal. Because if when you fix something, chances are you're going to break 5 other things. So I get it. You got to be picky with what you fix. As long as it's not going to ruin the integrity of the experience, then who cares? But yeah, it's not fun. I had moments of fun. Like I got to work on Guitar Hero 5 and Band Hero.
Nice.
And other than all the other, you know, I got to get really good at those games, and then I started competing in tournaments and stuff and winning tournaments, and that was fun. And I worked on Duke Nukem Forever, which was like great. You know, I love that game. People crap on it, and that's fine. But it was exactly what I wanted. It was just 10 years too late. But yeah, so it had its moments, but I ultimately hated it because of the hours and because you're treated like crap, pretty much, you know?
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it's like, it's kind of sad too, because like the QA team, I think in almost any industry, I mean, I work in tech and whatnot, so I work with, you know, the QAs and the whatever, either like on the team or like externally somewhere else, but they are kind of the backbone, right? They are the ones that are testing your code. And if it doesn't work, right, they're like, look, you can't ship this out. This needs to come back. And I personally don't think that, like, you know, QA is valued in the level or in kind of the you know, the way that they should be. And, you know, I think the industry kind of looks at it like QA is disposable. It's just a body in a seat that's kind of going through, and like, unless there's like, you know, I walk through the door and the whole console turns on fire, like they're like, yeah, it's fine, it's whatever, like we know what we're doing. But no, like, you know, the QA team is doing valuable work, and that should be like, that should be respected in a way, I think. So I mean, I get that. And you know, not to mention, you know, crunch and, you know, whatever else, and trying to get games out by the holidays, like there's just all that on top of that. And yeah, it's a lot of stuff to deal with. So I understand the pain for sure.
Yeah, I'll never do it again. But it's yeah, they're treated as disposable. The long hours and burnout is very real. Like, you could get so much more done if you either have like 2 crews going, or, you know, just so certain companies all had their different problems. So Neversoft had a thing where it would be like 5:55, you're getting ready to go home at 6, you kind of start packing up, you're like, cool, get to go home now, and they're like, guys, nope, stop it, get back into the game, we're doing overtime. Like, I had plans with the wife. All right, fair enough. And then they wouldn't tell you how, they wouldn't say we're doing an hour or 2 or 3, they'd just be like, we're doing overtime, just you're here. I'm like, all right, okay, not knowing whether or not it's gonna, can I go home? No, it's been 3 hours. No, all right, fair enough. You know, so you can't have a social life and stuff. The work-life balance is way out of whack. At least it was 10, 15 years ago or whenever I was doing it. It may have gotten a little better, but I mean, from all the stories you hear, probably not.
Right. Right.
Wow, I didn't know it was that bad. Wow.
Oh yeah, it sucked. I was at EA right around the time of like the EA wife controversy, where that whole thing blew up, and they were looking into like how bad overtime is, and I was there at the time, and yeah, it sucked. It was the worst.
Yeah.
Not fun. The games are great. I love playing them.
No, of course. Yeah.
But,
So I mean,
being forced to do something you like is tough too.
Yeah.
For so long, and you're like in the example of like the SpongeBob game, you're working on one level at a time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing like over and over again. Yeah.
It's the worst. It's terrible.
It's a bit
on the people who can do it, because I can. That's not me. I'm out.
Yeah. It's a bit maddening. I really enjoyed. I wish they brought it back, but Penny Arcade had a side comic, right? That's right. I forget what the name of it was called, but I mean, it was just tales from it was just all the horror stories from like QA development and all that, and just I cried every time I read one of those stories, even though you're meant to laugh and all that. So I feel yeah, I feel the pain a little bit, but and I guess
with how advanced games are nowadays, because I mean, you look at something like a Guitar Hero, that it's the same game nearly every time with just different songs, different. You're looking at the note tracks, you're making sure the audience doesn't mess up. But for the most part, that's the game is doing what the game is going to do, and there's no way around that.
Right, it's 5 notes on like a little keyboard thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas as something as advanced, like Cyberpunk or something, where I mean, that's there's problems with that game, but there's the amount of stuff to do in the game, and the amount of high quality graphics that are everywhere and interacting with each other in crazy ways. Just our games are nowadays. I remember thinking back in the day when PS2 games were coming out, and we were just starting to get into the 360 thing, and I'm just like, the amount of test time on these things has got to be insane, and it's not getting any better. Right. Which is why I'm sure the indie game market is so much bigger now, just because one, there's a way to get your game out there easier, but two, it's the easier way to go. It's the more fulfilling, the more I made a game for Giphy. It's like a Mortal Kombat style fighting game and stuff, and I had so much fun making that. It's got like 134 characters. It's got It's nuts. It's crazy.
How do you? Is it online?
No, we're right now the only place you can play it is in our office either in New York or LA. We have an arcade machine set up for it.
Right.
And it's got celebrities in it. It's got like Marshmallow is in it, the DJ, and it's Oh, that's awesome. It's got Hacksaw Jim Duggan and $1 Million Man. Anytime we have celebrities come in, we're like, hey, you want to film a thing for our game? And they're like, yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's a ton of fun, but doing that is so much more fun and fulfilling, and I feel like I'm spending my time properly than I ever did in 10 years of game development.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I guess unlike the gaming front, because you do have a very admirable collection. What is your favorite console? And follow-up question: what's your favorite game franchise?
Favorite console of all time would probably be either the Nintendo or probably the PS2.
Okay.
A lot of just
I can
really
see
good
that.
games.
I can see the PS2.
A lot of really good games.
Extensive library in the PS2.
Yeah. And that was during the time when I was probably gaming the most, because I was working part-time and not doing a whole lot with and doing my own thing, but like I had a lot more gaming time then. So I plowed through that library. And then favorite game of all time would probably be Spider-Man PS4.
Wow. Nice. Okay.
Huge Spider-Man fan, and they did it so well. It was just I've beaten it twice, and I still go back to it every now and then.
I gotta admit, I have Spider-Man. I got the upgrade for the PS5.
Oh yeah.
It's digital only, right? Like you get Miles Morales is digital. I wish they put out physical.
Same.
I go back to it. If you listen to earlier in the show, it's like, what are we playing? Which is one of our like best segments. What are we're playing? I can just listen to a podcast and just fly through New York.
Oh my god, it's so much fun.
Yeah,
there's a VR game that just came out called Resist on the Oculus Quest, and it's Spider-Man with guns. You're swinging through a city and then launching yourself in the air and then raining down fire onto robots and stuff. It's great.
Okay.
Anything that'll put me in Spider-Man shoes, I'm there. Count me in.
That's awesome. I am 80% complete with that game. I'm trying to do
really?
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty close to the end. I think I took down most of the villains. I'm pretty sure there's like 1 or 2 missions left. But
So,
Sure.
all right. So you have to know something about Dave.
oh, here we
Yes,
go.
yes. He knows. When he plays games, he doesn't play it like normal people. Okay.
Uh-huh.
He has to play it on the hardest difficulty and try to 100% it.
It's
And you know what? To his credit,
not always 100%, but always on hard mode.
Yeah.
to his credit, he does do a good job. You know, like it took him about 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 20, 30 years to beat Batman Arkham Asylum.
It
right?
took me 4 years to beat Arkham Asylum. And you know what the thing is? You know what the thing about? I'll go off on a quick tangent. When you start that game, whatever difficulty mode it's in is what you're at. And I got through most of that game, and the thing that hung me up was the Bane fight. When you get dropped into the, you get dropped into the little thing and all the doors start opening up and the villains are coming at you. And I think from 2012 to 2000, like that particular part, from 2012 to 2015, I was stuck on it. And every couple of months I go, no, you are not going to beat me, Bane. And I didn't realize that you didn't have to beat up all the little like minions that were around. So I was like going after all the ads, and I just had to take down Bane. And oh my god! But I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. I beat it. I mean, the Joker battle was like nothing at the end of the game.
So I never let him live that down, because when we started the podcast in 2015 is when he actually beat.
That's
Arkham
right.
Asylum,
That's right.
Which
That's
was
right.
already out for about 4 to 5 years.
I felt
yes.
very accomplished. So yes. I like to make
You
it
did your
difficult
way.
for myself.
That's important.
I did. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's this.
So-
That's just my MO. But yeah.
So his new goal is to 100% Halo Infinite. And I said, you know what?
Well, I'm gonna do that too.
When we hit our 10-year anniversary, okay, in 2025,
I'm almost there, Dan.
he will 100% Halo Infinite.
I've
And
got-
Spider-Man.
I've got
Beat him
9.
live. Get that last trophy or whatever. You get the
That's
last
right.
achievement.
I've got 99 out of 118 trophies for Halo Infinite. So I'm getting there.
Oh, achievements, yeah.
Achievements. Sorry,
That's the same
PlayStation's
thing.
got the trophies. The thing that's going to be difficult is legendary with all the skulls. The lasso achievement. So you got to get all the skulls, which I have all the skulls, and you have to beat the game on legendary. But I'm saving that for when co-op comes out. I'm going to get my friend. And come on,
yeah.
we're gonna
When
do a
co-op
co-op
comes
mode,
out.
and we're gonna
Yeah,
make that happen.
yeah.
But yeah.
I'm going to have to help him get something. Yeah, no, I got you. Listen, our 10-year anniversary, 2025, we will celebrate.
I mean,
finally. Yeah.
Listen. Microsoft said Halo is like a 10-year roadmap for Halo Infinite, so it's gonna happen. Yeah.
And then all the add-ons come out, and the DLC, and then they've got new achievements.
Oh, more. Of course. It'll be 200 achievements at that point. So,
Right.
Yeah, you
that's
know
the whole
what? You know what? This is what we'll do. We'll have you back on the show. You'll be the world champion. Right?
That's
by
right.
then, right? And we could just have a
You'll be
big
the title holder.
celebration. Yeah, there we go.
Yep, I'm done. Yeah, well, I'll celebrate the belt. You celebrate the achievements. I'm in.
So yeah. So back on track. So sneaking. Now,
Yes.
I want to tell a very quick story because I can relate to the sneaking thing because I don't know and I don't know if Dan necessarily knows the story, but I'm sure we're all old enough to remember the AOL free trial CDs.
Yes.
What you did with sneaking, and we definitely want to hear the story and the genesis of all that. I would take the little like thing that was like 30, 40, 50 CDs deep and just like take them and just have them to a point of thousands of CDs. And
I cut those things into like shurikens and throw them at my friends.
that's pretty funny. I ended up Christmas Eve, maybe mid 2000s. I put them on one of my friend's ex-girlfriend's lawn. I just said, "Well, they're gonna get a nice Christmas gift in the morning." So I
I remember that.
I kind of get let's just go ahead and get all the copies of Sneak King. But we want to hear the story, the genesis of it, and
sure.
all that.
Yeah, so I bought them when they first came out in 2006. I got my combo meal and I got the games. And I thought it was a fun game. I thought it was funny, and it sat on the shelf. I didn't really think about it. And then in 2016, I was at the dollar store and I saw a pile of 50 of them for $1 each. And I was like, oh man, that would be so funny to give out as gifts for Christmas. It was around October. I was like, or, just keep them and like be like, oh, hey, yeah, and here's my Sneak Kings. Just it was a dumb idea. I thought it was funny. It was a $50 joke. I'm in. And I didn't end up giving them out. I thought it looked really funny. It was part of my game collection. There's all the other game shelves and then the Sneak King shelf. And then whenever I went to GameStop or, any mom and pop game store, if they had a copy and it was under $5, I'd buy it. Just sight unseen, boom. Just either, how many do you have? 8? I'll take them all. And so it just kind of just became a running joke over the years. They're like, hey, let's just keep buying Sneak King and who cares, And I made a post or two on Reddit when I had like 72 of them and when I had 200 and, they did well and whatever. It was funny. Who cares? Life's about jokes. You gotta make yourself laugh sometimes. And so then by the time COVID came around, I had like 200 copies and I was stuck indoors. I mean, like everyone, we're stuck indoors for a year. And the only thing that really got me through is like my game addiction, my collection addiction, was watching YouTube shows about people, collecting games or resellers or whatever. There's like Phoenix Resells, a really cool one. I really dig watching those. And after I got the vaccine, I was like, oh, I'm a little more comfortable to go outside again. I want to create a YouTube series where we go and find copies of Sneak King. I think it'll be funny. It's a funny niche idea. It makes me laugh still. So let's do it. And episode 2, we went and picked up 1,000 copies. And I was like, all right, it's getting serious.
Yeah.
Where did you wait? Where did you find 1,000 copies of Sneak King?
So my wife, who thinks this is stupid, but is very supportive, found a listing for him on Facebook Marketplace. Because I told her, I was like, yeah, we're going to just go to game stores and find copies of Sneak King, and we'll have a funny narrative and an animated sidekick. It'll be funny. And then, yeah, within like after we filmed the first episode, she messaged me and she told me, she was like, hey, look, I found on Facebook Marketplace someone in Fresno is selling 1,000 of them, and we're like in LA, so it's like a 2-hour drive. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Yeah, let's do it. So we did an episode about it, went out to Fresno, private dude, selling out of his storage facility.
Right.
Bought 1,000 of them, and I was like, oh, that's so funny. And then a month or two after that, wife sends me another Facebook Marketplace where some guy is selling 2,900 copies of all 3 games for $100. I messaged him, and I was just like, hey, I only want the Sneak Kings. Can I pay you $40 just for the Sneak Kings? And he was like, dude, I just want them out of my house. I'll give you $40 for all of them. I was like,
wow.
That's a steal.
So I had to do it in 2 trips to fit everything in my car. But drove out to Fresno twice, picked up, 2,900 copies of all 3 games.
Wow.
Wow. And then after so I posted the original, I have 2,709 copies on Reddit. And that thing blew up, and a lot of people were angry and wanted to know why the hell I was doing this with my life. And, there's a lot of mixed reactions.
Right.
A lot of most people asking why. I responded to every single person like, hey, we're doing a YouTube channel, check it out. And a lot of people had interest about sending us copies. So we've been receiving, I set up a P.O. box, and we've been getting copies of the game sent to us, which is awesome. And so the collection keeps building, and I still pick them up at stores whenever I find them, and it's fun stuff.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best things I think we've seen on the internet in a while.
We ended our show a couple of weeks ago with the guy who's collecting all the Sneak King episodes, like all the Sneak King discs. But I couldn't resist. I put the show together. I couldn't resist, but have to talk about this at the end of our show.
And everyone's like, everyone's sending us articles, and they're like, "Oh, you got to get this guy in the show. He seems great." And then I was like, "Oh shoot, you do professional wrestling. You were on AGT, Gong Show, all this other stuff.
Well, you had
I'm
me with the
it's
wrestling.
incredible.
You had me with the wrestling. 'Cause everybody who listens to the show knows I always try to sneak in some wrestling references.
Of course,
every
you
now
got
and then.
it.
I'm a very old school guy. I go back, you mentioned Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Hogan and Jake the Snake and all that. I loved it in the 80s. I followed it a little bit in the 90s, and then Dan kind of keeps me up to date with like the new roster and all that. So I'm following AEW a little bit. We watched your performance, which was awesome, by the way. It was really cool to see. And
okay, but so all right, so I have to know about the human tack board thing. That you were on America's Got Talent.
Yeah,
You mentioned that earlier in the show.
yeah.
Dave did not tell me this before I watched the episode.
I was like, Dan, you got to see this clip. Watch it.
So I'm like, does he sing? No, he doesn't sing. Does he dance? He doesn't dance. I said, well, what does he do? Does he breathe fire? I mean, tell me. He has a beard. I hope he doesn't breathe fire because that's dangerous. He would not tell me, and then I had to watch it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I got to be honest. You are a wrestler. And, Mick Foley was one of the, love Mick Foley, love Mick.
Hardcore champ, yeah.
Cactus Jack in WCW, Mankind, Dude Love. Yep. I had one of those. I had one of those fake tore up shirts with the tie on it.
Oh, love it. Yep.
So I knew exactly I knew what you were about to do. How in the world can you do that? I can't do that.
I don't know. It's a combo of things. So I have a high pain tolerance, just from years of wrestling and backyard wrestling and all the other dumb crazy. I ran a stunt team for 15 years. Co-ran a stunt team called No Mercy Video. If you've ever seen a clip of a guy, there's two guys up on a roof. One picks him up in a we call it the pentagram, but it's like the Emerald Flosion or the there's a bunch of names it goes by. But the feet are up here, the head's down here, and then they run and jump off the roof through a table. And they slam, and then they're screaming, and the camera guy's like, "Are you guys okay? Are you guys okay?" If you've ever seen that clip, I'm the one who filmed that one. That was my house. That one went viral, and it goes viral every couple of years. But we had a viral video stunt team. So it's just years and years of getting beat up. So I have a high pain tolerance. And then also when you're on stage, like you have the adrenaline rush, and so when I'm doing that stuff, I don't feel a thing. I feel it afterward, but in the moment, like it doesn't bother me so much. It's fine. So the America's Got Talent thing came up because I loved doing reality shows at that point. I had done a couple of them. The first one being at the MTV True Life, and then a couple years later, I did a show called Solitary, where they 9 people, they lock them in a room in their own separate rooms and torture them for days. It's like Saw, the reality show, but without any super violence.
Wow. And this was on TV?
It was on TV. It was on Fox Reality Channel. It was one of the most. It was the hardest and funnest things I've ever done. It was the worst moment of my life and one of the best moments. Because you're there's no human contact and there's no breaks. There's no reality show picked. It's you're literally locked in a 10-foot by 10-foot room and just like tortured for days.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's great. It's on Vudu. You can check out. I'm on season 2. Great.
All right.
But so I've done a bunch of reality shows, and so we're always looking out for stuff to do. And a talent scout for AJT hit up a friend of mine because he had done a thing where he was headbutting watermelons on the Guinness World Records Gone Wild. A friend of ours was the casting agent, so he did that. And then I on that show I did a high heel 50-meter dash, which was fun.
Interesting.
I'd never tried it before. But I didn't break my ankle, so I was happy with my performance.
Okay. Oh, good on you.
And then so the talent agent reached out to him, and then we were, kind of business partners. And so I ended up talking to her, and she saw footage of me doing an improv show where I was blindfolded, barefoot, and surrounded by mousetraps. Me and a buddy were doing a comedy scene where we're the Christmas tree's on fire. Oh, let's get over here, and then like into the mousetraps and stuff. She was like, "That's hilarious. Can you bring that to our stage? Can you bring something like that? What do you want to do?" And I was like, "How about I get 5,000 thumbtacks and slam myself into it multiple times?" She's like, "Great. We'll see you in 2 months in New York." And I was like, "What? Really?
Wow.
All right, crap."
Nice.
And so I had done like thumbtack death matches before, but I had never done that many at once and such quick succession. You know, it was something that I was trying out for the first time really on the show. And so it was one of the things where I was like, if I'll do the big back bump, and if that goes well, then great. You know, I'll do a bunch more. I got a bunch more ideas. If not, then that's it. And I bow and I get booed and told to leave. You know, is what I was expecting. I was expecting everyone to hate it and me to get booed out of the building. Which, you know, when I did Wipeout, you know, I lost horribly, and I knew I was there for the joke factor. Like American Ninja Warrior, I was there for the joke factor, and that's fine with me.
You were in wait, you were an American Ninja Warrior and Wipeout? I love Wipeout.
Yeah. Wipeout, I completed the course. Yeah. Like, just barely. Like, you have 10 minutes to complete it. I did it in like 9 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I did it.
I'm happy incredible. About that. I'm super impressed because it looks like, you could just kind of like just balance yourself and whatever.
Yeah. Oh no, it's a nightmare. Yeah, like people. It was so interesting on that show to see people. Like, I was the last person to go during that day of filming, and everyone would be like, "All right, let's go!" And they're super like pumped and happy. And
then they're off in like 2 seconds.
One person refused to talk to anyone, and they laid in the corner of the room and they just held themselves and were like, "You all right?" And they just like looked at us and went back. We were like, "Oh my god!" So like you would see people like. Everyone stopped getting less and less excited to go out and like do the course.
Right.
It's like a really intense wrestling match. You just get wrecked in that. I weighed 320 pounds on that show, and they still launched me 8 feet in the air. You know, and then I did a 12-foot drop into water. You know, so like they hit you really hard on that show. And then they put in a bunch of fun sound effects so it doesn't look as bad.
Right. Yeah, it looks very, looks very fun and family friendly.
That show will. Apparently, that show will break you. Man,
yeah. I'd be down to do it again, but no, it was messed up. So AGT, so I got there and I got 3 yeses and went back for round 2 and did a bunch of mousetrap bumps, which was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
It was a neat experience, and it led to a whole bunch of other stuff. So I got hit up by similar shows in Germany, Italy, France, and Romania. I got to fly out to do all those.
That's awesome.
I did the Gong Show where I ran through Weed Whackers.
I know the Gong Show.
But yeah, the human tack board thing has gone really well. And then also I have, depending on when you're listening to this or watching this, like I said, January 27th, Thursday, Go Big Show, doing some crazy, stupid stunts, and it's definitely a see to believe kind of situation.
Fair enough.
Really do make it a big show.
I guess you got to tune in to see what goes down, right? You don't want to.
I can't say anything. I can't say anything.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, the reality show stuff has been great. I try to do one a year. Due to the contracts you sign, you can't really do more than one unless one is like international or something. But yeah, and there's a bunch more I'm in talks for on the way, so we'll see how it goes.
All right.
Nice.
All right, so this is the part that I'm excited about. Okay, so this is like
can we? No. All right. But before we get into this, can you be impartial? That's all I asked, Dan.
I can be. No. I want to talk about the wrestling.
Oh well, yes. All right.
I want to talk about the wrestling part. Okay. So, how long have you been wrestling?
I mean, if you count backyard wrestling, I started that in 1996.
It counts. It's on PS2.
It counts. Yeah, it's definitely it's a legitimate circuit.
I'm in the backyard wrestling footage on the first game and the XPW footage on the second game. And I was supposed to be in the third one if it had gotten made. I was in talks with the producer, and he was just like, "Yep, if when we make it, you're a character." And I was like, "Finally, I get to be a playable character in a video game," and it never happened. So that's a shame. All right. So yeah, from '96 to 2000, I backyard wrestled, and then from 2000 to today, I've been a professional wrestler. I trained at the XPW Asylum, which was a really fun wrestling school in a really crazy environment. XPW was nuts. A lot of people that I love and still talk to today, and a couple of people that were just the worst. And they just had a Dark Side of the Ring episode air about XPW, so you can see everything there. And then I was there for 3 years. I bounced around the indie circuit for many years. Then I found a home at Freak Show Wrestling, which was a place that ran by Sin Bodhi, who used to be Kazarni in the WWE.
Yep.
And we did shows in Vegas and LA, and it was like a bunch of friends putting on an awesome, goofy, crazy wrestling. We did a 30-man battle royal where after the first 5 people, giant octopus tentacles came out from underneath the ring and started attacking us, and so we had to fight a giant octopus.
Okay. I can get behind that. I can get behind that.
I got to see it to believe it, right?
Yeah.
See that to believe that.
Yeah.
Everything Freak Show Wrestling does is insane, and it was so much fun. It was some of the best time I've ever had wrestling. But then they shut down, and I kind of, I was busy with other things, so I didn't really kind of jump into it. And then due to events that happened on the Go Big show next week, I got into contact with Cody Rhodes, and they invited me and my best friend, my wrestling manager, Howdy Price, out to wrestle for AEW Dark, which was insane. It was nuts.
Yep, I saw the match. Again, I saw the match. Didn't know this was you that we would be interviewing. So I seen the match before, and I got excited. That's awesome. Congratulations on the match.
Yeah,
thank you.
Like, how was it to wrestle for AEW?
I was scared. Can I cuss?
Yes,
it's perfectly fine. Yeah.
I didn't want to screw anything up. I was scared.
No, it's all good.
Like, I was, because I hadn't wrestled since like 2016. I was nervous that I had like forgotten how to do it. It was a biggest match of my career, and I felt kind of the less prepared that I've ever been for a match. But I did. If you look at that footage, and then you look at the footage that airs on the Go Big show, I lost 30 pounds in the 4 months between those two things, and I've lost another 30. So I'm slimming and trimming down. But it was a crazy experience that once I got backstage and got into the flow, and I remembered how to wrestle again. I remembered I know how to do this. I know what I'm doing. I'm fine. We're good. And everyone was super cool. Like that was the reason why I didn't go full time as a wrestler, was because there was a lot of egos and a lot of like forced respect. There's a lot of like just backstage like that goes on at a lot of different wrestling places, and I hate it. It's not fun. I'm not having a good time. And AEW didn't have any of that. It felt like Freak Show Wrestling. It felt like a bunch of friends who were putting on a really cool show together. And that's what I had in the backyard wrestling times, was we were just friends, put on crazy shows for everyone who wanted to come watch, or for news reports or whoever was there. And I've been chasing that kind of experience for so long, and to find it again in AEW was like amazing. It was so much fun. Everyone was super cool. We're talking like Pokemon with with different wrestlers and stuff. A lot of people play Pokemon Go and stuff, so we're all chatting about that. And it was great. It was so much fun. We did a skit on being the elite about Sneak King, which was a ton of fun. It was something that I wanted to film just on the side for us. And then the guy we filmed it with, Peter, Peter Avalon. He was like, "Well, I'll submit this to Being the Elite." And I was like, "Oh, all right." Oh, that's right. You guys got like they have like a sketch comedy show, behind the scenes show, which to me is amazing, because you've got so much downtime on these shows. To be able to have a creative outlet like that is so neat.
Right.
So yeah, and the match went, pretty much as planned, and I was super happy with how it went. And they didn't show it in the broadcast, but afterward, Tony Khan ran out with a microphone and was like, "I don't care what Dave Meltzer says, that was a 5-star match."
Nice.
And I thought it was because match, it was a goofy comedy match kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, that's harsh, man. I'm like super like out of breath walking to the back, like, man, he just ripped on us in front of everyone. That's kind of messed up. And then I got backstage, and Tony Khan was like just showering us with praise and like, "Oh my God, I haven't seen selling like that since blah blah blah." And he was just like super nice and way into it. And I was like, oh, He wasn't being sarcastic. He meant it. That's awesome. And other people were talking about the match, and we got a lot of praise for it from everyone. And so hopefully we get to go back. That's the fingers crossed. We get to show up on AEW again.
Well, I mean, I think if your last performance is any indication, 100% we will see you on AEW again, and that's going to be awesome.
We're hoping so. Fingers crossed. Every day goes by and there's no email in my account. I'm like, oh well, maybe not. Well,
it'll come out.
I guess that's fine.
It'll come out of the blue when you least expect it, right?
That's right.
how it always happens.
That's right.
So, just like the best question, or maybe the toughest question you'll
ever be asked
in
your
whole
life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. And listen, I'm not trying to influence your decision by any means, but there is a right and wrong answer. I'm just saying.
Okay.
If you ask me.
Okay. All right.
He's right. He's right about that. Yes, there is a right and wrong answer.
So as we ask all the guests, and most of the guests, I got to say, have said the right answer because they were on the right side of history in video games.
All right. Let's not. Okay.
What is the best game or best Mario game of all time? Is it Super Mario Brothers 3 or Super Mario World?
And we're gonna need to know why. I want you to defend your answer because that's the
Well,
that's
if you pick the right answer, you don't have to defend it. It's just,
no. We still need to know why, and that's the interesting part. We want to know why.
If you pick the right answer.
Mm-hmm. Out of those two.
Okay, I think I've got a BS answer. You guys might yell at me for, but it's my answer, so I'm gonna give it.
It's all good.
What were the two choices again?
Super Mario Brothers 3 or
Super Mario World.
Okay. Super Mario World is the better game, but my favorite game is Super Mario Brothers 3.
No, he said the right answer.
World is the better crafted game. There's a lot more to it. You've got the Rainbow Road. You've got all these like really cool moments, and Yoshi's awesome, and it's
sure.
But it's also on the Super Nintendo. It's had 10 years of time in between. So like but as a kid, sitting in a movie theater, watching the
Wizard. Yes.
And Super Mario Brothers 3 appears to me for the first time ever. That was the first time I've ever had like an awe-inspiring cinema moment as a child. It was just like, this is the greatest thing ever. And getting it that Christmas in my hand, opening up the wrapping and seeing that yellow box with Mario on there, and he's got he's fine. Like that meant so much more to me than getting my Super Nintendo with the other game. Like the other game is better. Yes, it is. There's a lot more to it, and it's wonderful, and I love it. But Super Mario 3 means more to me.
Okay. I disagree that Super Mario World is the better game, but I love your story.
So no, he had to, you know what? I'm gonna count this as a win. He said the right game first, and then he had to say the other game second.
Well, I think that's a 50-50, Dan. I think that's a 50-50. I think it's a 50-50 right there.
All right, so we're gonna put him on the board. We're gonna put him on the board in the middle. Put him on the line.
Yeah.
Put him on the line in the middle. Okay.
Fair enough. Wow, that's actually interesting
first
too.
Person on the line.
Because I think a lot of people when they talk about games, they factor in the personal experience and they don't. Right.
Like Dark Souls, I'm not denying that whole series is amazing. It's great. It's not for me. I hate it.
Yeah.
That kind of, I'm just getting into Hades now, and I love that. That's great.
The art style is amazing. Yeah.
Oh, so beautiful. But personal preference means so much more. The game's got to be good, and they're both amazing games. That's not,
right. That's why it's the hardest question you've ever been asked in your entire life.
Listen, I love Super Mario Brothers 3. I have the same nostalgia as you. Okay, but I understand that Super Mario World is the best Mario game, if not the best game of all time.
From a technical standpoint, all time.
Just know that.
It's in the running, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Okay, I'll accept that. That's acceptable.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put a point on it that most of the stuff that's in Super Mario World was birthed in Super Mario Brothers 3. Sans maybe the Rainbow Road bit, and sans maybe Yoshi.
100%, and they perfected it in Super Mario World. And they perfected it.
16-bit and all that. So, all right. Well, fair enough.
Well, we can keep going. We're not going to.
Right. So, I think we're about out of time, and we thank you for coming on the show.
Of course,
it's been great. Is there anything that you want to promote before you go?
One more time. Yeah. Come on, one more time.
YouTube.com/Leroy Patterson. Look at my gifts. I've got 10.6 billion views so far, and I can use it more. So if you want to do that, Go Big Show. If you're listening to this after the 27th, then go back and watch it. It's going to be awesome. I'm promising you, though, top to bottom, that episode is nuts. There's people crashing cars into stuff. There's like people hanging by their hair. It's going to be awesome. You need to watch it. Nice. And Sneak Kings. The reason we're here,
is
you go on YouTube, look up Sneak Kings with a Z, at the end because we're cool, we're extreme, and check out our journey. Check out us collecting as many copies of the game as we can, as long as it's still funny. Once the joke's not funny anymore, who knows what I'll do with them? But for now, I'm laughing.
It's 3 amazing episodes on YouTube. It's a fun watch from start to finish. Love it. Production value super high. You and your friend are going on a journey. I mean, it's the ultimate road trip to get the ultimate game, Sneak King.
Yeah, a fun one to edit. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, nice. So check out Leroy Patterson on the Go Big Show on TBS, right? Coming out on the 27th, right? Check him out on AEW. There's a fantastic performance on there. Check him out on AGT. Check him out on Wipeout. Check him out on The Gong Show. I mean,
just
so many
search Leroy Patterson.
performances.
You're gonna find a whole bunch of me in my underwear covered in blood. That's what I'm all about.
Well, there you go.
It now.
Well, all right. So that is episode 302 in the books, folks. We want to thank Leroy for coming on the show again. Thank you. And we want to thank you guys for listening to the show, for liking, commenting, and doing all the good stuff that you guys do. If you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Also, we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. Check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there at gamingpodcastalliance.com if you're looking for more gaming goodness. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
Keep gaming.